Who here had Vaush versus JK Rowling on their 2022 bingo cards? I'm guessing very few of you. Now, I did, because I'm smart and I can see the future. But I'm guessing that none of you had that on your bingo cards. Yet, alas, here we are. Vaush, streamer, YouTuber Vaush, beefing with JK fucking Rowling. We're going to talk about all of this and why this happened, okay? So, first, let's talk about the controversy involving JK Rowling. Now, of course, as we know, JK Rowling is very dumb. She is a massive TERF, and she weaponizes partially her own abuse that she's experienced to try and bludgeon trans people and strip them away of their rights and recognizing that trans people are valid. It's very sad, and it's really a disgusting way to go about things because we can recognize that JK Rowling may have suffered abuse at one point, but her oppression does not justify her bigotry. It's quite simple. This came to a boiling point when JK Rowling started to criticize a reform bill that makes it easier for trans people to legally change their gender. Now, this took place in Scotland. The reformation here of this bill, I feel like it would actually make TERFs happy. It's still very strict. So let's go ahead and read. The current process for receiving a gender recognition certificate dictates that applicants have to be medically diagnosed as having gender dysphoria. So this is a little bit problematic only because of the fact that, of course, not all trans people have gender dysphoria. So there's that. They need to go through a minimum 2-year process and be aged over 18. So that's the current policy for if a trans person is seeking to change their birth certificate, or just receiving a gender recognition certificate. Now, let's hear about what the new one is that JK Rowling is really terrified about. Under the proposed legislation, applicants would be required to live in their gender for at least 3 months before applying for a certificate, which would then be issued after another 3-month reflection period. So 6 months before you even get the certificate, applicants would have to swear they intend to live as their gender for life, as any false claim would be a criminal offense carrying a prison sentence of up to 2 years. So a lot of the TERFs, they like to fearmonger that like some burly dude with a giant beard and massive muscles who's just oozing testosterone is going to be like, yo, what's up? I'm actually a woman, bruh. And then they're going to just put that guy in like an all-female prison where he can go crazy on a big giant rape rampage. That's a lot of the times what TERFs like to strawman about these issues. When here we have the proposed new legislation would literally put people who lie about their gender identity in prison for 2 fucking years. That's a pretty harsh penalty, dude. Now, of course, JK Rowling went on a big tangent. Pretty much the same thing she always says. This law will harm the most vulnerable women in society. Meanwhile, JK Rowling is repeatedly trying to harm some of the most vulnerable in our society, aka trans people. Those seeking help after male violence / rape and incarcerated women. So trans people can face male violence, okay? Trans people are more likely to be sexually assaulted. So why couldn't they seek help as well? Statistics show that imprisoned women are already far more likely to have been previously abused. What does this have to do with anything at all? Again, she's just assuming that trans people are going to go on some like rape rampage. It's really fucking disgusting. So anyway, that was JK Rowling's brainlet take. She probably didn't even read what the new legislation was. She probably just saw that it was going to be more accepting of trans people, got really triggered, and then tried to weaponize her bigotry by hiding behind, oh, well, the poor women, ooh-woo. And then, this is what nobody saw coming. The beef with Vaush. The man, the myth, the legend, Vaush. He made this tweet. All JK Rowling had to do was shut the fuck up, and she could have been almost uncritically beloved for like a century. Women be quieter and start apologizing challenge. Now, right off the bat, I have a few critiques for Vaush here. Now, as a follower of his content, as somebody who has spoken to Vaush, I recognize, especially this second tweet, that he's being funny. He's just being edgy. I know he does not actually believe that all women need to be quiet and start apologizing. I know that, of course. Unfortunately, though, not everybody knows that. And this is why it's sometimes really important to just be mindful of optics and the way that you're delivering your message when it comes to putting this stuff out there, because there are people outside of your insular community that can read this a very different way. And so JK Rowling posted this tweet of Vaush and said, "What you and your ilk fail to appreciate is how tediously familiar I find your tactics." Oh boy, we're going to some Lord of the Rings battle here. "I had a violent ex-husband who used to tell me life would be great if only I'd comply. But you're making the same mistake he did. Women like me can't be bullied out of resistance." So again, weaponizing her own abuse to try and bludgeon trans people. Really fucking disgusting. What JK Rowling suffered at the hands of this violent ex-husband is very sad. It should be condemned. It is in no way acceptable. But your abuse does not justify your bigotry. It's quite simple. And the other issue that I have with Vaush's tweet here is that the whole TERF narrative seems to be that the desire to accept trans people is rooted in some kind of sexism. Now, of course, we know that that's bullshit, but Vaush's goofy tweet here, unfortunately, plays right into that stereotype. It gives people like JK Rowling fodder for her dipshit opinion that the acceptance of trans people, or that this movement, this trans rights movement, is somehow rooted in hatred for real women. It's unfortunate, because Vaush has some excellent arguments against TERFs and against JK Rowling, but when he makes edgy tweets like this, it unfortunately plays right into the stereotype that Rowling and TERFs all over the world have already assigned to this group of individuals, the type of people fighting for trans rights. But yeah, this is something that I just did not see coming. When I first saw this on Twitter, I was like, holy shit, JK Rowling is tweeting Vaush? This is insane. So Vaush responded. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to fully ratio her because she got 86K likes and he got 32K likes. But I like what his response was. "Listen, Joanne, you don't get to play the victim card when you're the advocate for taking away women's rights here. Trans women are raped and killed in men's facilities, and you want to keep them there because of your trauma. Quit making your feelings other people's oppression." A very excellently worded tweet. Much better than the first tweet, I'll say. And yeah, unfortunately, a failed ratio. I liked and retweeted. Vaush, I did everything I could to try to help you, turn her into JK ratio. But no, alas, I failed. And Vaush is speaking, he really is speaking facts here. It is true that trans women are far more likely to be abused in men's facilities. They're far more likely to be abused in the male restrooms, for example. But again, JK Rowling doesn't care about any of this because she hides behind this facade of caring about the victimized women. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is Blaire White simping for JK Rowling. Now, as we all know, Blaire White's entire shtick is "I'm one of the good transes, you see. I'm actually, I support all the bigots, you see, because I'm one of the good ones. Yeah. Hey, King, I saw your post about how trans people suck. I agree with you, yeah. Also, if I mentioned you're really cute, haha." That's sort of Blaire White's entire shtick, just licking the boot as it crushes her skull, complimenting the people as they lead her into a death camp. That's Blaire White's entire brand. So, following suit, JK Rowling at one point also tweeted, "Yes, sweetheart, I'm staying right here on this hill, defending the right of women and girls to talk about themselves, their bodies, and their lives in any way they damn well please." Which I have no idea what this has to do with trans people. Can trans women also talk about themselves, their bodies, and their lives? Believe it or not, trans women also have lives. They have bodies too, JK Rowling. How does trans people existing affect women and girls talking about themselves? It just seems like a massive leap. You worry about your legacy. I'll worry about mine. Winky face. Wow, roasted. And then Blaire White. She shows up like the cretin that she is, crawling up. Oh, I see somebody hating on trans people. I gotta go defend them. Blaire White says, and those of us, I'll read it in her voice, okay? And those of us with a brain actually appreciate you so much. You've only further solidified your icon status, queen. So, Blaire, you as a trans woman, JK Rowling would consider you a man. They wouldn't want you in a women's facility, and they would see you as a danger and potential rapist to real women everywhere. That is what JK Rowling thinks about you. Why the fuck are you over here simping nonstop for this crazy lady and claiming that she's further solidified her icon status? This is a level of cuckoldry that I did not think was possible. This is unfathomable to me. I had no idea that somebody could be this much of a fucking cuck and still be supported by the right wing. You know, I thought the right hated people that were absolutely spineless, didn't stand up for themselves, and cucked left and right for people that hated them. Isn't the right wing all against, like, Republicans sucking up to the Democrats type shit? So why are they okay with Blaire White literally sucking up to the woman that would want to strip her of her rights? So, yeah, just a lot of crazy shit going on, you know. I think that everybody's just slowly but surely losing their minds. But yeah, that's JK Rowling versus Vaush. A couple of critiques that I have for Vaush, as well as Blaire White simping for the lady who would gladly take away Blaire White's rights if she had the chance to. Hilarious in every conceivable fashion. But hey, that's what happens when you're a brain-dead simp. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified when I drop a new video.